thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones, and I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Shouts out to everybody listening right now. Put your hands in the air right now. Put the ones in the chat right now, because we got a lot to talk about. I want to give a special shout out to all the people out there that subscribe to the Gumbo Pod Sports podcast. We're underway. We've hit 500 subscribers, and it is a podcast where we talk about the hottest topics in sports. We got a series going on over there right now, 32 teams in 32 days. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed to that channel. Thank you for all the positive feedback. Thank you for all the positive energy. It's something that I'm working on, just trying to expand a little bit. So just thank you to everybody that has supported the Gumbo Pod Sports podcast. I want to give a special shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Let me get some names. Let me get some names. We got Cartel in this thing. Shouts out to Cartel. Scrimmage. Thank you. Paper Chaser. I like that right there. Paper Chaser. Chasing that paper. Got Tyrell in here. Got my guy Brandon. What's going on, Brandon, man? Appreciate you for being here. Tim with the positive energy that he always bringing, man. Shouts out to you, man, and thank you for subscribing to the Gumbo Pod. Always the OG, Jerry. We got Jerry off in this thing, man. We got Rose City in here. And we got Greg, got Daniel, we got Tyrone. What's going on, Tyrone? Appreciate you for being here. Shouts out to Jason, man. Jason, thank you for being here. We got Bronx, we got Chris, we got Edward, we got AS. Thank y'all, man. And Mira just joined us as well. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out to see what your boy talking about. And also want to give a special shout out to all the people that can't make it. All the people that couldn't make it here today, probably going to be checking it out when it's all said and done. Shouts out to them after show boys.
Shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out to them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys.
With them after show. Yeah. Shouts out to all the after show boys, after show girls out there. But let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I was looking a little bit at the comments before the show started. First off, don't blame me for this topic. Don't blame me for it. I mean, blame your quarterback, Derek Carr, because that's the reason why we're having this show today. Derek Carr, the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, he was on Barstool with Big Cat. Man, shouts out to Big Cat and crew over there. But he was on Barstool being interviewed by them, and they talked a little bit about Taysom Hill. And for those that didn't check out what he said, here it is.
Ronald Curry, who is the greatest athlete of all time, I'll say that, was our quarterback coach last year. RC was like, bro, when Taysom runs the football, he sees red. Yeah. So I know that you're out there on the edge, probably wide open. He won't see you. Yeah. So we're playing in Carolina. I think it was Monday Night Football. We're on the 5-yard line. He runs a keeper right at me. And I see my corner take off because they always talk about don't touch anybody. Yeah. Don't jam a finger for no reason. So he takes off and I slip and I'm open in the end zone. And I look at Taysom's face. And for the nicest person in the world, I looked at him as the most violent, angry, and he just puts his head down between like 3 dudes and pretty much trucked them all. Yeah. And I was like, dude, that was like the most violent impressive thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he can do everything.
He can do everything.
Throws, runs, catches, fullback, quarterback, tight end, receiver,
Blocks
slot,
punts.
blocks, punts, personal protector.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't, just because of how stats work, I don't know how to work, but like, that man is a Hall of Fame football player.
Because he does he's the true sense of a football player. He plays everything.
Yeah, so there you have it, man. He said that he doesn't know how the stats work. He had to put that out there, but he said he is a Hall of Famer. Now, let's go ahead and dissect this. Look, we all know about Derek Carr, man. Derek Carr is, I'd like to say, man, he goes above and beyond sometimes, trying to please people, always, singing people praises, because I don't know, man. It seems like, he likes to be portrayed as a nice guy, or heck, maybe he just is a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I see tells me that he is a nice guy. But at the end of the day, come on, man. Like, nah. Like, I will say this. Taysom Hill is one of the greatest football players that ever played in the NFL. This is one of those situations, Who Dat Nation, where he could possibly be a Hall of Famer, because there's never been anything like him. Like, I really, when I heard Derek Carr say these things, I had to go and man, y'all know me. I'm a football historian, man. I mean, I'm like a football encyclopedia, man. Like, I go back, watch all these different this footage on like Sammy Ba and all these other players that played back in the day. Like, I watched this stuff. I absorbed this stuff. And I had to really think, like, who was playing a position of like Taysom Hill does, like just doing all these multifaceted things. If anything, Taysom Hill would open up a wing in a Hall of Fame because of all the things that he can do. Now, he is a special football player. And the reason I'm saying that is because you have a bunch of teams that are out here that's always trying to find somebody to do what Taysom Hill does. That is the truth. But we know that it will be hard for Taysom Hill to make the Hall of Fame. Like, this would be like one of those situations where, like I said, it would have to like create a lane just for him to be in there. Like, maybe the Hall of Fame committee will look at him like, well, he does so many different things, man. I mean, maybe we need to open up something dedicated to players like this, but I don't know. I think that, you're glad to have a player like Taysom Hill. I don't need to tell Saints fan what Taysom Hill means to New Orleans. Anytime you need a spark in a game, here comes Taysom Hill running somebody over, trucking somebody, giving a big block, blocking a punt. I mean, he can do virtually everything, but we know that the Hall of Fame is not in the future for Taysom Hill. But I mean, I don't think Taysom Hill would be too upset about that. Of course, I mean, Taysom Hill has no business making as much money as an NFL player as he's made throughout his years in the NFL. So I don't think anybody's going to be losing any sleep or crying over the fact that Taysom Hill is not going to be making a Hall of Fame. Taysom Hill is he is a unicorn, and there's a lot of teams that's out here trying to find players that kind of match that. And you can see like certain players they try to implement in certain situations, like like Deebo Samuels, running the ball out the backfield at the wide receiver position, or trying to utilize a lineman or something like that in certain situations. But everybody is looking for Taysom Hill, and they have yet to find him. So I just think the fact that you can't find someone like him when teams have desperately tried is a testament to Taysom Hill. So I don't know, man. Maybe if this was, back in the day when stats weren't just, out of this world, like just insane, maybe, but it'll be hard for him to make the Hall of Fame, man, with all these different football players doing all these amazing things, sacks, interceptions, yards, touchdowns. I just don't see that. Saints Hall of Fame, yeah, of course. Like he will go to the Saints Hall of Fame, no doubt about that. But Pro Football Hall of Fame, I don't see that happening. I really don't. You would have to open up a different wing for a certain situation. Like, you have guys that are in the Hall of Fame because of special teams or something. Like it'll have to be something like that. I can't see that happening for Taysom, but he is an incredibly talented player, and the Saints are lucky to have him. But let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and get it to it. Read some of your comments here. Jason says Saints Hall of Fame in Kenna. Yeah, he's going to the Saints Hall of Fame. With Carr, everything is roses and rainbows. Yeah, like I said, man, I don't know. It's borderline politicky. You know, I can't say that it ain't legit because I don't know him like that. But there is a reason why, you know, at times I refer to him as Homelander. You know, like anybody ever watched the show The Boys, and that's my show right there. But Homelander, he's this superhero, and you know, in front of the cameras, everybody loves him, and you know, everybody idolizes him because they think he's such a great guy. And then, you know, behind the scenes, you know, he's diabolical around this thing. You know what I'm saying? like he preying on the destruction. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that, you know, Derek Carr is preying on anybody's destruction, but I'm just saying though, you know, it's always like, you know, he always has something positive to say about everybody, and you know, like it's all shucks, gee whiz every time, you know. But I don't know. Like I say, I don't know Derek Carr. Like I maybe that's just his personality. I mean, from everybody that I talk to and everybody that talks about him says that he's a nice guy. You know, I don't try to, you know, look at guys and say, you know, I separate them being football players and human beings. Like I feel like when you start, like you have weirdos out here trying to reach out to his wife when he don't play well, like, man, get a life. But you know, I don't know what he is as a person, you know, and you know, I don't know. All I know is, you know, it always seems like he has that, you know, all shucks, gee whiz type personality, and he's always, you know, has nice things to say about everybody and everything. So, but you can tell like he's a really emotional person as well. Like he wears his heart on his sleeve. Like last season, that kind of showed. And sometimes that's not always a good thing when you play such a, you know, a tough sport. Like people, you know, in football, man, people don't want to see your weaknesses. People don't want to see you resemble anything that is weak, you know. Keen Arthur, what's going on, man? Says TJ, what are your top 3 requirements for Hall of Fame consideration? I don't know if I got 3, King Arthur. I can put some out there for you. Number 1, I just feel like your impact to the game. Like, what impact did you have? Like, you know, like, were you one of the best at your position? Not the fact that you was on a team that won a lot. Not the fact that, you know, you made a play in between and it was solid all throughout the other years. Like, what type of impact that you had? And also, can they tell the story of the NFL in your era without you? Can they tell the story of the NFL in your era without you? If they can't, then I don't feel like you need to be in the Hall of Fame. If they can, I should say, then you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. If they can't, if they can tell it, well, they can tell the story without you in it, then you don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So that's my requirements. Like if you look at like certain players, and also yeah, I guess I can add 3. I can add 3. The third, if I could just think about it, if I just say your name and I got to think twice about it, you don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. If I got to say your name twice, then you don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. If like okay, if I say Aaron Donald, everybody gonna be like, yep, no doubt. If I was to say Aaron Rodgers, yeah, no doubt. If I was to say Travis Kelce, no doubt. But if I was to say, what about Thomas Davis? Good, you know, like, but I mean, you know, like, then people will probably make an argument. Now, I feel like Thomas Davis should be in the Hall of Fame, but that probably would be an argument. Luke Kuechly, that wouldn't be an argument. Even though he played for a short period of time, he did enough in his career to make the Hall of Fame. Like, it's just certain guys, like when you say their name, like it's no brainers. It's a no-brainer. Like, but if you got to think twice about it, I'm trying to think of some players. Like as much as I love Marcus Colston, no, like no, I would have to defend Marcus Colston for him to be in the Hall of Fame. Like Saints Hall of Fame definitely deserves to be in that, but I would have to argue for Marcus Colston to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm trying to think of some other players. Like if I got to think twice about you being in the Hall of Fame, or I got to make a compelling argument for you, I don't think you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I feel like the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, and I will agree with Deion Sanders on this, like it is, it can become watered down. Like I think the NBA Hall of Fame is watered down. I think the Boxing Hall of Fame is watered down. Like I think the NFL Hall of Fame is probably one of those last Hall of Fames where it's like there's some levels of legitimacy in that. There's some level of legitimacy in that. Like they still like holding that Hall of Fame in a high regard. It's not like, like your brother was good, but you was borderline good. So let's go ahead and put you off in this thing. Or you had like 3 or 4 good seasons. Let's put you off in this thing. No, like they still, we argue every single year a guy gets snubbed out of the Hall of Fame. We do that every single year. And you know why? It's because they really holding it to a high regard. So even the great players that were great in our time that we remember their career from start to finish, they getting snubbed. So I feel like, definitely they deserve to be, Hall of Fame if you reach those 3 requirements. If the NFL cannot tell the story in your era without you, your impact on the game, and if I gotta say your name twice, that's what I feel about the Hall of Fame. I think that's because he's not solidified as a prototype skill player at a single position. He won't make it to the Hall of Fame, but definitely believe he's a Saints Hall of Famer for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we all know there are certain positions, even when guys go to the Hall of Fame on special teams, right? We know that they have a certain position, right? I don't know if he's in a Hall of Fame or not, but Steve Tasker, Steve Tasker, the longtime Buffalo Bill, one of the best special team players of all time. Like, I don't know. I got to look that up. I don't know if Steve Tasker is in a Hall of Fame, but I know he deserves to be in there. Steve Tasker is, one of the best special team player of all time. So I want to make sure, because I know his name constantly has been brought up throughout the years about, should he make the Hall of Fame or not. So I don't know exactly if he made the Hall of Fame. He has not, but he is a 5-time first team All-Pro. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler. He's on the Buffalo Bills Walk of Fame, and he's a part of the 50th anniversary team. But when you look at Steve Tasker, he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for a special teamer. But sometimes, if you're on special teams, like you have to play for a long time. Like you got to kick a lot of field goals. Like you got to punt a lot of balls. Like Adam Vinatieri, not in there yet, but will be. We know about the great Dane Morton Anderson. He's in that thing. You got to be like a 20, 25-year vet around this thing kicking field goals for you to make the Hall of Fame. But it's good to see Devin Hester make it to the Hall of Fame. He did some amazing things in the special teams game. But, I think when it comes to Taysom Hill, I think the fact that he does a multifaceted things, he should be considered of that. Because, like I said, it would open up a different lane. And we never seen anything like Taysom Hill before. Like, unless you got to go like way back when they were just, guys played both sides of the football back in the day. But you don't see anything like Taysom Hill in a modern day NFL. You just don't, because people pay so much attention to their particular side. Like when I was growing up, like 90s or something like that, like, early 90s, late 90s, like you still had guys playing both ways. Like Deion Sanders played wide receiver, and he played, corner on some snaps. You seen Cordell Stewart slash. He played quarterback and he played receiver. Like he did so many different things. That was like very rare. That was rare air. You know what I'm saying? It's rare air now. Like, you ain't about to see people. Like, if you're a wide receiver, you probably gonna be a wide receiver for the rest of your career. You know, like, it's just what it is. You know, but you don't see players like Taysom Hill. So I don't know. Maybe he should be considered for it, because it's not like one of those situations where what he's doing in 2 years, somebody else gonna come in and be doing the same thing, because teams have been looking. They have been looking for Taysom Hills for years. They've been looking for the next Taysom Hill for years, and they haven't found him. So who's to say, like, if you were to open up Canton for him, you know, that, you know, he will always be that player that just did a multifaceted of things. I don't know. I just know, like, you know, when guys are making history, when guys are doing things that have never been done, I feel like that needs to be considered. I mean, if you're seeing a bunch of guys, like, let's just say it hasn't happened, but let's just say Emmitt Smith's rushing record, right? Let's just say, I mean, Emmitt Smith, he's had that record for over 20 years now, right? So let's just say, for example, somebody else came right behind him and broke that record when they had a solid season. Let's just say Adrian Peterson did it. How great would that have been? How great would that have been? Sorry about that. Paxton would call him, man. I'm trying to see what he wanted. But anyway, yeah, man. Yeah, I think that, you know, when you're seeing something special, I think it should be taken into consideration. But I don't think that you should be watering down the Hall of Fame. Like, you know, Taysom Hill is a rare he's an anomaly. There it is. He's an anomaly. He's rare, you know, so you're probably not going to see that anymore, you know, in your lifetime, probably. Or it's probably going to be like another 30, 40 years before you see somebody that can do what he's doing. Hit that like button and subscribe to the SOTS on your way in. I appreciate that, Keynote. Yeah, please hit the like button. I've already read that one. Let's scroll down a little bit. Dana says hit the like button. Greg says, I still feel that Jameis Winston should be our number one quarterback. Quarterback number two, Jake, and number three, Taysom. Well, Greg, I'm afraid that ship has indeed sailed. All right. Jameis Winston is in Cleveland right now. I wish that man the best of luck. And, you know, I mean, it is over. It's over with. Over with, man. We got to let it go, man. It just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. We going to start calling him Dexter Carr. Look, I don't know if this that man personality or not. I don't know, you know, but it just seems like, you know, he always says the right things, man. And I guess that's what you want, you know. That's a good top 3 list, TJ. Definitely think about your number 2 requirements. If we can tell the NFL story without you, that's a major hit to your standings. Where are you with Patrick Willis? I think Patrick Willis deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, you can't, like, he was definitely one of the best linebackers of his era. So yeah, he deserves to be in it. Like, around when he came in the league, like maybe like 2007, 2008 or something like that. When did Patrick Willis? Let me look that up. Yeah, I mean, he did his thing. See, I think we look at, you know, guys that, you know, been around like Ray Lewis, 13 years and 14 years, like, you know, Terrell Suggs. Like, we look at players like that, and we like, if he didn't play that long, then he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But if a guy hits the ground running, if he hits the ground running, man, like, you ain't got to be doing all that. Okay, so he came in the league in 2007, all right? So he came in the league in 2007. He was a 5-time first-team All-Pro. He was a second-team All-Pro. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL solo tackle leader, 2-time NFL combined tackle leader. Like, he's part of the 2010s All-Decade team. Yeah, like, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. See, here's the thing. Like, we look at, like, guys like I said, like Ray Lewis. We look at guys even like Cam Jordan. We look at guys that have played 12 and 13 years, and we expect for those players, like, okay, man, they played a long time. They should be in the Hall of Fame. But if you hit the ground running, if you hit that ground running and you just automatically just soon as you come out the gate, you a beast, you putting up a Hall of Fame resume. Like, man, I hope this never happens. I'm knocking on wood. I say this. Let's just say, for example, if something was to happen to Patrick Mahomes, like, and he can never play football again, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. This guy's went to 4 Super Bowls, won 3 of them. He's a 2-time NFL MVP. He's a multi-time Pro Bowler, multi-time first-team All-Pro. Like, he's a Hall of Famer. He's already won more Super Bowls than some of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played the game have won. Drew Brees was one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live, and Patrick Mahomes has had more Super Bowls than him and has been to the Super Bowl more times than him. So, yeah, I just feel like if the NFL can tell the story without you, you don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. If they need you to tell a story, then definitely you should be in the Hall of Fame. You should be in the Hall of Fame. Roderick, thank you very much for the $5. Says, I know this is off subject. Me and you around the same age. Do you remember Richard Simmons wearing a headband? Yeah, I remember, man. Yeah, I remember Richard Simmons. Yeah, man, y'all already know, man. Like, man, if you've been rocking with the State of the Saints, man, y'all know one of my favorite catchphrases is the Saints sweating to the oldest like Richard Simmons. Like, come on, man. Of course, I know about Richard Simmons in the peppermint shorts. Yeah, man, sweating to the oldest. Man, rest in peace to Richard Simmons. He was a New Orleans native, man. So shouts out to Richard Simmons. Rest in peace to him. And yeah, man, I remember Richard Simmons, wearing the sweatband. Yeah, with that curl perm in his head, man. Yeah, I remember Richard Simmons. Yeah, rest in peace to Richard Simmons. TJ, would Sterling Sharp be an exception to your requirements? No, he would not be. He would not be. You can't, like, when you start doing stuff like that, King Arthur, then it's like you gotta make exceptions for everybody. And when you start doing that, then that's when I feel like that's when you're gonna start getting the watered down version of the Hall of Fame. I mean, I feel bad. You know, he had that devastating neck injury, but I mean, you was a three-time first team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time NFL reception leader, 2-time NFL receiving touchdown leader, and NFL receiving yards leader back in 92. Great resume, 595 receptions, 8,134 yards, 65 touchdowns. That's great, but they got several other players that surpassed him when it came to those accolades that are not in the Hall of Fame. So no, I don't feel like he should be. Now, maybe it's going to be like one of them situations where, you know, every single year there's that one guy, you know, that nobody really remembers because he played in what my grandparents call the Olin days, you know, that nobody really remember, and they come out there with the walker and stuff like that, you know, walking up in there with the 2 golf balls on the front of the walker and waving to everybody. You know, he about 80, 90 years old. You'll probably have him up in there then, but I just think that the way the NFL is right now, how the numbers are inflated, unfortunately, unless you like, you know, an 80s baby, early 90s baby like some of us are, you ain't gonna remember how good Sterling Sharp was. You're just not. And it's unfortunate. But yeah, he was good in his day. You know, it was like one of those situations where a lot of people thought he was better than even Jerry Rice. And some people feel like if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have been up there with Jerry Rice. But no, King Arthur, you can't make an exception, because when you start making exceptions, you got to start making exceptions for everybody. And then we really going to be having a watered down NFL Hall of Fame. And that's something that I don't want. Told Homer Q on X, until Saints go out and prove otherwise, the rest of the league views us the same way. 3 years missed playoffs, nobody cares the reason. If you can't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. Well, look, I definitely agree. You got to go out there and you got to prove yourself. You got to go out there and show people that you're worth the price of admission. At the end of the day, look, we all are Saints fans. That's the reason why I do this show. That's the reason why you all watch this show, because you care about the team. But the reality is, like, you don't get brownie points from what you did back in the day. You know who does that? Cowboy fans. You know who do that? Teams that ain't won in a long time. I refuse who that nation to be one of those people talking about what the Saints used to be and trying to hold that up. Like, nah, bro. That's like the OG that's going up in there, you know what I'm saying, can't get above the rim no more and still talking about what he did in 87 with the game on the line back at Francis T. Nichols High School or something. Like, nah, bro. New player. You know, like, bro, your prime is gone, dog. Them days are gone. It's over. The reality is the Saints got to continue to win. And that's the reason why they're going to get the attention. That's how they're going to get out this slump that they're in. That's how people are going to start caring about them. You don't get, look, there's some of the takes that people have are just completely outrageous. And honestly, I don't think they care. But when it comes to the Saints and people feeling like the Saints need attention, no, they do not. I'm sorry. They do not need attention. They do not deserve attention. They don't deserve national attention. They deserve shows like this and, you know, in New Orleans football and Locked On Saints because, you know, we care about the team. We got an investment in the team, what have you. But I don't blame the national media for not going out their way trying to talk about the Saints. They got some Sundays I don't want to talk about the Saints. So if you want them to talk about you, give them something to talk about. Right now, the Saints aren't relevant. They just not. They're not relevant. They're not. Like, people look at the Saints as an afterthought. See, some of us, we're still looking at the Saints in the eyes of what they were when Drew Brees was the quarterback. And we feel like because what Drew Brees did throughout that time, we feel like we still have a leg to stand on. Nah, bruh. Like, it's what have you done for me lately? And the Saints haven't done anything lately. They haven't. And if you're being honest with yourself, you know that to be true. It's not hating. It's not me, you know, trying to diss the team. It's not me not being a real Saints fan. I don't think it gets more realer than telling somebody that you love and care about that they ain't on no more, that they ain't got it no more. So right now they ain't got it. You know, hopefully they get it back and we have shows that we can talk about them being relevant, but right now they're not. We're talking about how they can get back into the land of relevancy once again. Cartel, a lot of people talking about Brandon Ayuk. I'm not a fan of the idea. However, I do like the thought of possibly trying to get T. Higgins. What do you think? Well, look, I've done shows on both guys on the Gumbo Pod. I recently did a show on Brandon Ayuk over there, so I can kind of really talk about this particular subject. I think Brandon Ayuk is the number one receiver. You look at his stats every single year, his numbers have increased. He went over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career last season. He had 1,300 receiving yards. I want to say he had 7 touchdowns. Look, he is as advertised. But, you know, and I do think that he can be a number one receiver anywhere he goes. I like T. Higgins a lot. I think T. Higgins can be a number one receiver. I think both guys are equally talented. If I had to choose, I probably would go with Brandon Ayuk. I would go with Ayuk over T. Higgins. The reason why is not the fact that I don't think T. Higgins is that good. I just don't think that T. Higgins is a number one guy, like just solely a number one guy. Now, I could be wrong, but I just don't. I just think that he feeds off Jamar Chase. I think that, I think that he needs somebody out there that can go get it just like him. I think that if he was to go somewhere like Minnesota, let's just say if he went somewhere like Minnesota and he was alongside Justin Jefferson, even though Jordan Addison is really good. But if he was to go opposite of Justin Jefferson, I think he'll thrive. If he was to go to the Cowboys, I think he'll thrive because of CeeDee Lamb. He is John Taylor. He is John Taylor. John Taylor was really good for the 49ers. Really good. Like really, really good. Got it. You know what I'm saying? But John Taylor without Jerry Rice, jag. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way I feel. Like, I don't feel like he was a number one guy. Kind of like with Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin back in the day. He wasn't the number one guy. Tampa paid him all that money, and what did he do? Absolutely nothing. I don't look at T. Higgins as a number one guy. I look at Brandon Ayuk as a number one guy. And the reason I know that Brandon Ayuk is a number one guy is because when you look at him, yeah, like I said, man, his numbers get better every single year. he demands a double team. Like, think about this, right? You got to think about double teaming him and Deebo Samuel. And most of the time, you know what I'm saying, like he was getting those one-on-one matchups and winning them because everybody was looking at George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. But I trust him as a number one receiver because I feel like he's more polished in his route running than T. Higgins is. T. Higgins is more like Dez Bryant. Like, he's a bully. Like, he plays bully ball. You know, he's a guy that's physical. You throw the ball up, he gonna catch it. You know, he has that really good catch radius. But Brandon Ayuk, like, not only is he fast, he has really good footwork. You know, he has really good like fundamentals as a wide receiver. So yeah, I think he's more of a number one receiver than T. Higgins is. Not to say that T. Higgins isn't good. I just think that T. Higgins has to feed off of someone. Based on what I'm seeing. Like, I could be wrong, but based on what I see, it seems like he has to feed off someone in order for him to really like get going. TJ, the slogan on Manscaped may say shaving care for down there, but to me, it's for up here for the facials. Got to keep the fresh cut for your boy. Yeah, man. Look, you can use it in you know, multifaceted ways. You know, like it's male grooming products. You know, even like females can use the grooming products as well. So, man, it's really good, high quality stuff, man. I'm not just saying that because you know, I've been working with them for the last few years. Like, if they weren't good, I wouldn't be sitting up here promoting that. But they have really good products. They really do, man. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like, a lot of people, use it to shave their face and stuff like that on there too. So let's see. Taysom isn't even Saints Hall of Fame. I definitely disagree with you on that one, bro. He definitely a Saints Hall of Fame, but like, it's not like the Saints have the Dallas Cowboys like Hall of Fame or the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Fame. Like, the Saints over the last 20 years have really just started to put together guys that are worth even having a conversation of being great players. So to say that he doesn't deserve to be in the Saints Hall of Fame, like, that's saying a lot. That's like saying, like, bruh, like, you can do the bare minimum. You could be about as average as a C+ right now and be in the Saints Hall of Fame. Because they ain't really had too many people that have come along. Like, they ain't really got nobody to follow up, like follow after, I should say. From 2000, I want to say, but maybe 2000 to the present, you have guys that are worthy of being Hall of Famers, like people just considering like being in the Saints Hall of Fame. Since 2006, you got guys that should be considered for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So to say that Taysom Hill don't deserve to be in the Saints Hall of Fame, man, that's mad disrespectful, right? That's mad disrespectful. I can't see that, TJ. Is that why we have Allen Iverson ranked where he's currently is? He hasn't won a chip, but you can't tell NBA history without him. No, like, that's completely different. That's completely different. Like, Allen Iverson definitely is one of the greatest NBA players of all time. Like, he definitely is. Like, and you can't tell the story of the NBA without Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was not just a basketball player. Allen Iverson was an attitude. Allen Iverson was the culture from like late 90s, early 2000s. He's the reason why guys were rocking cornrows and headbands. He was the reason why these dudes was out here with these no limit camouflage outfits on. He was the guy that was out here, like the reason why your homeboys used to take forever in the day to shoot the ball, trying to cross somebody up like they hot sauce on and one. He was the guy, right? He was the one that, gave style and finesse and flair and an attitude to the basketball court. And he was idolized by so many kids, that were in on the blacktop. So I think it's completely different right there. I think it's completely different. Like, Allen Iverson did it for a while. He did it, he changed the game. Like, he changed the game, man. He changed the game the way that it was played. He changed the culture, like how people, was, introduced to basketball, the way that basketball was played, the way that people dressed. That dude was everything, man. He was the coach. Like when you say Allen Iverson, like you say AI, like some of y'all young folk probably just think you're talking about artificial intelligence. No, AI is Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was that guy. He was that guy. He was a special basketball player. And he meant a lot to the culture, the black culture in general. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know they had some white boys out there trying to cross some people up, you know what I'm saying, with the headband on. You know, Justin Timberlake was trying to rock cornrows back in the Allen Iverson had everybody. He had everybody. Hold on real quick, man. Let me I gotta hold on 1 second. I gotta plug my laptop in. It's about to die. Man, lucky I looked up and I was like, man, wait a minute. Computer about to die. We about to end the show a little bit early. We're gonna take a few more comments and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here, man. Thank y'all so much for being here. Once again, man, we got the Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast. I'm asking everybody to subscribe to that channel. We're throwing 32 teams in 32 days. I been covering the NFC North this past week. We've already done 3 episodes, well, 2 episodes for the NFC North so far. We covered the Chicago Bears, and today we covered the Minnesota Vikings. Tomorrow we have the Green Bay Packers coming out, and then on Saturday we'll have the Detroit Lions on the way for you all. But we've been doing we did the NFC East, the AFC East, and now we're doing the NFC North. So make sure y'all check it out and subscribe to the channel. What do you think about Antonio Brown in the Hall of Fame? His numbers are similar to Hines Ward. Should off the field issues like he had keep players out? No, I don't feel that way. Unless, like, you know, you did something that was just absolutely egregious, like, you know, murder somebody or something like that. I feel like your name, you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I don't feel like you should be in the Hall of Fame with that, right? I mean, even with O.J. Simpson, you know, like that was before all that stuff happened with Nicole Brown. But I do feel like, you know, when Antonio Brown, yeah, he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, he was the best wide receiver of his era. And that's all you can ask for. You know, that's all you can ask for. I mean, nobody was better than he was during the time when he was playing. He was the best. Are you going to let me see, am I going to DC SOTSTJ? DC? What I mean, what's that actually mean? What do you mean by DC? I mean, guess I'm being kind of slow today. Let's see. Jason Williams was absolutely sick on the court. Yeah, Jason Williams. Jason Williams for the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, man. Everybody used to like white chocolate back in the day, man. I mean, he turned the ball over at an alarming rate. I mean, but you know, that behind the back pass going out of bounds gonna look sick like a mug. Said discontinue. No, I'm not discontinuing the State of the Saints. No, not at all. Like, we still doing the State of the Saints, but you know, we're just trying to start a whole nother channel. You know, that I mean, I love talking about the Saints. Don't get me wrong, but I love football. I love sports in general. I just love talking about sports. And you know, just trying to you know, open up a different lane, you know, just open up, you know, a different side of myself. You know, people know me from, you know, State of the Saints, of course, but I'm always going to do the State of the Saints, you know. I mean, if you look at like how, you know, I'm doing the Gumbo Pod, you know, it's more of a production base, you know, just doing, you know, something like I'm just, you know, recording, and you know, I just want to do something a little bit different, you know, just kind of elevate and trying to, you know, do something a little bit different. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm gonna be doing this season. Like I said, the Gumbo Pot, I took on Roundtable Sports is a weekly podcast that I'm gonna be doing with other NFC South panelists. We're gonna be having a 1 hour show there where we're gonna be talking about the NFC South. And of course, just covering Coastal Carolina. So, man, I'm gonna be busy this season, but just wanted to take on something different and just try to elevate. But State of the Saints podcast isn't going anywhere. I love doing this show. I just love doing other things too. TJ, do you think they'll try to ostracize Antonio Brown like they did T.O.? Probably, yeah. They probably would. They'll probably try to do that, but the man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. SOTS stays on forever. Yeah. State of the Saints ain't going nowhere. State of the Saints not going anywhere in my Morgan Freeman voice. Yeah, man. I'm just wanting to, talk sports. And if you look at the Gumbo Pies, like it's completely different. It's completely different. And I was having a conversation and talking about that. I didn't want the Gumbo Pot to be like the State of the Saints is. I didn't want it to be that way. Will I, have some live shows over there on Gumbo Pot? Probably, in the future, but I don't want it to be that way. I don't want it to be, kind of similar to that, because if that's the case, I just might as well just do what I'm doing over there, over here, and so it just, it's just doing something a little bit different. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna stop doing this show. Let's see, TJ. Let me see, TJ. I hate even ponder this, but if we have another bad season, do you think free agent will start seeing NOLA as NFL purgatory? Could be. I mean, free agents want to go somewhere where they know they can win, and if they feel like they can't win in New Orleans, then why would they come here? They're really gonna have to start backing up the Brinks truck to get these guys here. I agree, TJ. Unless it's something heinous, it shouldn't hurt your chances at being in the Hall of Fame, especially because of what we now know about how football hits affect. I feel like this. Look, if a guy isn't out here like on a murderous rampage or something like that, put him in the Hall of Fame. Like it is what it is. Like Antonio Brown, he is, a very polarizing figure. I'll just say that. But I mean, the dude was a beast on the field. Like, how can you deny that? Like, how can you even, try to legitimize your Hall of Fame if you don't want to put the best wide receiver of his generation in there? I mean, that just ain't it. What you do off the field should have no bearings on eligibility for the Hall of Fame. Yeah, unless you like I said, just go on this murderous spree or something like that I can understand that. So if Ray Rice was better, would he get in the Hall of Fame? I think Ray Rice was good. It just was that tape. It was just that tape. I think he was like, was he Hall of Fame worthy? Nah. Good. He was good now. Like, he was talented. But Hall of Fame? Nah. TJ, I'm low-key at a point where I'm game to game with the Saints until they show me consistency again. I think a lot of people feel that way. I don't think people are so overly emotional about the team anymore. I think people still want them to win. I think people still will defend them, in some cases, but I just think that people kind of over this whole, Dennis Allen experience. The fact that it just seems like the Saints are more into like trying to be right about their assessments of Dennis Allen and the direction of the team than actually doing anything. I will say, people are looking at like Mickey Loomis as if, he feels like people don't need to like say anything to him, like he's beyond reproach in some cases. I don't know, man. All I know is you got to win. You got to win, and if you win, nobody will care about any of this stuff. Like, nobody be sitting up here criticizing you. People be quiet. But don't pretend like y'all just around this thing winning every single year, and when somebody like question your decision making or questioning the direction of the team, you have to bring up when a coach that's no longer here and a quarterback is no longer here were here in order for you to have a leg to stand on. It's what have you done for me lately? It's what have you done for me lately? And they haven't done much over the last couple of years. I mean, they were better than they were the year before. They went from 7-10 to 9-8. But you still didn't make the playoffs. You know, people still upset. People still frustrated at the direction of the team. People are playing it by ear, man. Like, people like love the team. They're gonna support the team regardless. But it's like they just like whatever happened, it happened. Like, it's not gonna ruin my Sunday. Like, I'm not going into 2024 feeling like the Saints are Super Bowl contenders. Like, so if the Saints start off week 1 beating Carolina and then beat Dallas in week 2, I'm happy about that because I didn't expect for them to beat Dallas. But, you know, they got to hit the ground running. Like, they can't. You already got fans that's ready to boo this man out of the building, want this man to get the hell off their team as the head coach. So if they go out there, just for example, if they go out there and lose to Carolina, I mean, can you? I can only imagine a backlash on Monday. So they better start figuring something out. Who is your 17s you have in the playoffs in the NFC, TJ? Well, in the NFC, I have, of course, the 49ers. I got the Detroit Lions. I got the Green Bay Packers. I got the Rams. Minnesota is kind of like they could make it, could not. I trust Kevin O'Connell. I got Tampa making the playoffs. Well, how many teams is that? So I said Detroit, I said Green Bay, I said San Francisco. Let's put Dallas in there. Let's put Tampa in there. Minnesota may be a dark horse, you know, and Philly. I think Philly will go to the playoffs. So that's 7 right there. Those are the teams I feel like making the playoff. Like, know that sounds crazy, but that's the way I have it. I don't think Atlanta gonna make the postseason. I just don't. Like, I know they got Kirk Cousins and they got Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in NFC in my opinion, but I don't know, man. The Falcons are the Falcons. Like, the Falcons always gonna find a way to screw something up. Like, they, I don't know. Like, on paper, they look like they should be that playoff team, but I don't know, man. I just don't trust Atlanta. I just don't trust the Falcons. Like, Tampa is like, okay, they're gonna have a sound defense. Offense might be a little bit of a question now that you don't have Dave Canales anymore, but I will put them in the playoffs. But those are the 7 teams that I would think of right off the bat. I mean, like I said, Minnesota a little bit of a dark horse. It could come down to like one of them situations where, you know, it could be like the Saints like flirting with that last playoff spot. Minnesota, Atlanta, you know, maybe trying to see, maybe like Seattle or something like that, like, you know, teams like that. Like, but I mean, I don't know. They could, I mean, when you got 7 spots, like, that's the sad thing about this, man. Like, 17, like, you got 17s in this, like, average NFC. Like, you should be like, honestly, the Saints should, like, I don't want to say dominating, but they should at least like be top 3, top 4. Like, you got to be kidding. TJ, you don't have us making the playoffs. Oh man, I mean, not watch football. I mean, look, I'm just telling you. Like, I ain't saying that it's gonna be true. I'm just saying I don't see them as a playoff team. I just don't. I don't see them as a playoff team. I see a bunch of bravado and you know a bunch of stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't like. I don't trust this team. Like, I don't believe in the Saints. You know what I'm saying? Under this structure, like, I just don't. I don't believe it. Like, they're gonna have to show me that. And you know, when you have players that are just getting older, when you have a coach and Dennis Allen, who hasn't really won anything. Like, yeah, he won 9 games, but they celebrating like they went to the playoffs or something. And then you have Derek Carr, got a lot of question marks with him. You have a new offense. Yeah, that's good, but how would that offense look? A guy's going to stay healthy. That's been an issue, throughout the last couple of years. Yeah, we think we're going to have this guy. Then all of a sudden he gone for a couple of weeks. I think that sometimes those guys missing extended amounts of time, is very, very telling in my opinion. I just wonder, like, is this team going to live up to, to their potential? And I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, you got some things that are positive. You got some things that are positive, but I don't trust it. I just don't trust it. And I noticed this is the state of the Saints, folks, but I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm just not. Like, there's a lot of things that the Saints have to do in 2024 to get people on board. I'll be sitting up here lying. I'll be sitting up here lying to y'all if I would just say, man, I see the Saints as a double-digit win team. Now, if I wanted to, I mean, I can make a compelling argument how they can win 9 or 10 games, but bro, it never fails. It never fails. Like, you look at the schedule and people like, man, the Saints gonna win this game, win this game. How can you be so sure? Like, how can you be so sure? Besides just having hope and faith in the team. And I got hope and faith in them, I hope they win, but I just think that this team is still clinging on to something that once was. And I don't think it's going to be like that. I think that you're going to need an overhaul. I think that you're going to need a different philosophy. I think that you're going to have to, honestly, I think that you're going to have to break this team down to build it back up. I think you're going to have to go through some tough times in order for you to actually get out of this hole that you're in. I don't think that it's an easy fix. I don't think it's an easy fix. It's not like, oh, we need this, or we grab this, we'll be a Super Bowl contender. Like, I don't. I feel like if the Saints were like to embrace like some of like I ain't saying like tear the entire team down, but embrace the future, the way that teams embrace the future. Like, committing to a quarterback. Like, people can talk about Atlanta all day, all night, but that might end up being a really good decision by getting Michael Penix over Kirk Cousins. Because if something was to happen to Kirk Cousins, or if they decide to like, okay, man, we like you, Kirk, but we're going to get rid of you. Now you have your quarterback for the foreseeable future. The Saints kick the can down the road and kick the can down the road and kick the can down the road. And now they're in this situation right now. If they would have found a proper succession plan for Drew Brees, we wouldn't be in this situation. You'll probably be in a better situation because you would still have a quarterback on a rookie deal. He would just be up for his contract right now. So that $100 million that you guaranteed to Derek Carr could have went. You could have distribute that out to get other players in order to keep certain players that were here. You could have kept them, or you could have get out here and been a player in free agency, but you chose not to because you rather just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I still got it. It's like you used to walk around with a 6-pack of abs and used to look in the mirror all the time and look at me, man, I got a 6-pack right here. And then all of a sudden age started taking a toll and you get that beer gut and you still looking at yourself like you got that 6-pack. You don't. Right? I mean, you Shallow Hal right now. Anybody ever seen the movie Shallow Hal? You remember Shallow Hal? Everybody else seeing these like overweight women and, and all these different women that people deemed attractive, but to him, all he seen was gorgeous women around. Now there was a positive message in that movie, like look for people that got good hearts and all that kind of, that's a good message. But the reality of Shallow Hal is different from actual reality. The Saints looked at themselves like people still scared walking into the Superdome. Oh, we got the loudest crowd in the entire NFL, only to see the team get waxed in front of that loud crowd. Like, when you start seeing stuff like that, that's when you got to start making changes. But I just think that they just waited too long. And that's why we're in this situation right now. The Saints are the shallow halves of the NFL. And that's why they're in this situation. You know, so you got to find a way to get yourself out of this hole. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. Much love to you all. I ask that you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Please subscribe to the Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast, youtube.com, search Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast. Check out some of the previous episodes I've done so far. Got an episode out right now, 32 teams in 32 days. We also have a video that I put out about Skip Bayless stepping away from Fox Sports 1, and also Brandon Ayuk requesting a trade from the 49ers. Those are the most recent videos that were put up. You can also check out previous episodes of the State of the Saints, of course, on this channel, and also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. And follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.